For some families, the story didn't end the way they prayed it would. You did everything you could. You loved, you fought, you hoped. And still, the person you loved slipped away. If that's you, this is for you too. Because loss doesn't mean God wasn't there. Even in the final breath, even in the heartbreak that feels endless, He was there. He is still there. You carry the memories now, the laughter, the light in their eyes before addiction dimmed it. You carry the ache that time hasn't erased. And maybe you wonder, where was God in all of this? He was in every tear that fell. He was the strength that kept you breathing when you thought you couldn't. And even now, He holds both you and the one you lost in His hands. Their story didn't end in addiction. It ended, or rather, continued, in His mercy. And someday, when all things are made new, you'll see them again, whole, healed, and finally free. So if your arms are empty tonight, know that heaven is not. And until that reunion comes, God is still writing redemption through your pain, still using your love to bring light into someone else's darkness. There's a silence that only families of those in recovery understand. It's the silence that sits heavy in the house when you're waiting for a phone call, the quiet between prayers, the long pause between God, please save them, and God, I trust you anyway. If you've ever loved someone who's lost in addiction, you know that ache, the kind that sits in your chest even when you're smiling. You remember the laughter before everything changed. You remember who they used to be, and sometimes you wonder if you'll ever see that person again. You've tried everything you know: love, discipline, distance, grace, boundaries, tears, forgiveness. And still, there are nights when you feel helpless. You start to question yourself. Did I do enough? Say the right things? Pray the right prayers? But hear this. None of this has escaped God's notice. Every cry for mercy, every whispered prayer through tears, every sleepless night when you stared at the ceiling wondering if they were safe. He heard it all. He's been in the room the whole time. Faith in these moments doesn't come easy. It's not the kind of faith that shouts from mountaintops. It's the kind that whispers in the valley. I still believe, even here. Sometimes faith looks like showing up when you don't have strength left. Sometimes it looks like letting go of control, even when every part of you wants to hold tighter. It's learning to say, God, I surrender them to you, not once, but every single day. Because the truth is, healing doesn't happen on our timeline. Recovery is not a straight line, it's a battlefield. Your loved one is fighting demons you may never see: shame, fear, guilt, loneliness, regret. And while they fight their battle, you're fighting one too. The battle to keep your heart soft, to keep believing, to keep hoping that God's not finished yet. Addiction has a way of convincing everyone involved that things will never change. It whispers lies, that people can't change, that God's not listening, that hope is foolish. But God's word tells a different story. It says that He leaves the 99 to go after the one, that He makes rivers in the desert, that He brings beauty from ashes and turns mourning into dancing. And maybe right now all you see are the ashes, but ashes are the evidence that something burned. And what's been burned away can make room for something new. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean pretending everything's okay. It means learning to rest in the truth that God is still God. Even when your heart is breaking, it's saying, Lord, I can't fix them, but you can. When you reach that place of surrender, something sacred happens. The burden that's been crushing you begins to lift. Peace starts to creep in where panic used to live. And though nothing on the outside may look different yet, something deep inside you begins to change. You start to realize your role isn't to save them. Your role is to love them, to pray for them, and to keep pointing them toward the light even when they can't see it for themselves. God's love for your loved one is deeper than your greatest worry. He's been chasing them since before they were born. He's walked with them through every relapse, every hospital visit, every dark night. And he hasn't given up, not once, not ever. So if you're in the waiting season, don't lose heart. This is sacred ground. God does some of his best work in the dark. Seeds grow underground before they ever break through the soil. Healing often starts long before we see the evidence. Your prayers are not wasted. Your tears are not forgotten. Your faith is not in vain. God is writing a redemption story, even if all you can see right now is the middle of the mess. He specializes in impossible situations. He turns prodigals into preachers, addicts into ambassadors of hope, and broken families into living testimonies of his grace. Maybe someday, you'll be the one standing in a church, telling the story of how God brought your family back together. Maybe your loved one will look you in the eyes and say, "Thank you for never giving up on me." And maybe, when you least expect it, you'll realize that all those nights you spent crying were the same nights God was working behind the scenes. Faith doesn't mean the pain disappears. It means the pain has a purpose. It means that love keeps showing up, and grace keeps reaching out, and hope keeps whispering, "This isn't the end." To every parent, spouse, sibling, or friend who's been walking this long road, thank you. Thank you for loving when it hurts. Thank you for praying when it seemed pointless. Thank you for believing when the world said it was hopeless, because your faith matters. It creates space for miracles. It holds the line when your loved one can't. And one day, whether in this life or the next, you'll see what your faith built. You'll see that every prayer, every act of love, was a stone in the foundation of someone's new life. So keep praying, keep hoping, keep believing. Because the God who began a good work, he will be faithful to finish it. He's still in the business of rescuing the lost, restoring the broken, and redeeming what addiction tried to destroy. Even now, he's moving in ways you can't see. He's turning pain into purpose, bondage into breakthrough, and waiting into worship. This is not the end of the story. It's just the middle, and the author is still writing. Faith through the waiting, hope through the pain, and love that never lets go. Because with God, no story is too far gone.